Adam, can we start with Elliot in the squad? Do you expect he's fit to play?
Yeah, he'll play. Yeah. He'll come in for Lukey Edwards. So one change this week.
And what does it mean for the midfield to have him back? He's obviously in great form for that injury, but the midfield's actually functioned pretty well while he's been out.
Yes and no. I wouldn't say that against Collingwood, but yeah, on the weekend they were a lot better. But he's arguably our best player, so we're a better side with him in it, if that's what you're asking. But we're trying to be a bit more balanced over the journey, not to rely on one or two particular players. But where we're at the moment, our senior players are pretty important. So that's McGovern, Barras, Yeo, Darling. These types are very much, when we win, they play well.
So Clay Hall close to a debut. Is he going to travel with you guys for the experience?
Oh, he's getting there, but the experience of the travel is something we're trying to blood with our younger guys as well. So I think most of them get a travel experience. So, and it's normally when, if they have to play, they can, but maybe not quite ready. So one of the issues we have as a travelling side is you always take an emergency. They always miss out on playing. So over the journey, we've used it as a chance to get a younger player used to the trip and the food and the sleep and the 2 days away, all that sort of stuff. So Hawley will do that. But if he has to play, we're more than happy to play him.
Dom Sheed used him pretty successfully last weekend to tag out Clayton Oliver. Do you look at implementing him to maybe a Jordan Dawson?
Maybe, yeah. We haven't done it before, so it doesn't mean we're going to do it again. It worked pretty well on the weekend, but I wouldn't say that's a week to, something we'll do every week, but it worked reasonably well for us at stages last week. I think Oliver still had 27 on possessions, but probably took away his influence a little bit and gave Dom a specific role. So I won't say we're going to do it this weekend, but it's definitely something we can.
With a guy like Tyrrell played the sub last week, do you look at bringing him in the starting 22 to give him some more minutes? Or how does that sort of work with a young guy like that to make sure he's getting enough game time?
Well, he was a sub last week, and the week before he played a full game, so he'll be the sub this week. So, pretty much one change really. Yoey in for Edwards, and we'll go that again. But he can't. He probably couldn't do it next week, depending on when he comes on. So if he's coming on the last 10 minutes and we're 8 goals up, she's all good. But if it's the first 5 minutes, and we'll just see how that goes. But we don't think he's far off being a regular in our side. But he's still got a little bit of work to do.
We've spoken before about the first step of this journey is to make Optus Stadium the fortress.
Yeah.
How do you take the next step when it comes to away games? How do you guys mitigate that to be more competitive away?
It's a good question. I still think we're working on the first phase really. I mean, our home form's been better than away, so that's good. But we've won 3 games, so I think we're just jumping the gun a little bit on. It's been a really good week for the footy club, and we've had some really good performance, but we've got so much work to do. So I don't think we've mastered everything just yet. But our away form's been terrible. So I think our best game was Sydney in the gather round. Outside of that, it's been a completely different look than home. So one of our goals is to be more competitive when we travel, and this week's a really good opportunity.
Last time you played Adelaide, was that not such a great margin, and Texas 200th, I think, he kicked a bag, and it was sort of a different atmosphere in terms of they was very much up and about that crowd. Does that play on the mind a little bit and wanted to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Well, I think he kicked 10 again in the last round, so he probably kicked half his score against us last year, and he's a very good player. So, I don't think we're too concerned about last year or the year before, albeit we've been losing by a lot, lots of times. So, I don't think we're scarred from it though. I think the group's a bit different. There's a bit more energy. The squad's changed a fair bit in the last 12 months, and hopefully we're playing a better brand.
What do you expect from Adelaide? Like close loss on the weekend and no Rankin.
Look, their form, I think they started a bit shaky, like a few sides did, but probably since the Carlton win, they've been right up there. In all the numbers that we see, they're in the top 4. So the fact they haven't won against, I think, Essendon and Collingwood and Brisbane as well, it's they got their game back together. So we're expecting their best at home as well. So it's going to be a pretty big challenge for us.
Brady Hoff, we spoke to him earlier in the week. He said he was disappointed that Rankin wouldn't be out there because he was looking forward to the challenge. Is he looking at a Joshua Shelley, or are you going to try him a bit taller?
Well, he's got that flexibility. So yeah, he I think he's relishing getting the hardest job in our side. It's going on the best forward or the best small forward. So there's a few options we've got. Rochelle's one of them, but their half forwards are really damaging. They can be the difference. So he's going to have a big job no matter what.
We saw at the weekend with Yo out of the side, Ruben, a lot more centre bounces and had a really good game.
Yeah.
How do you look to balance that now this week? Harley, Ruben, Tim, Elliott.
We'll work it out. We'll take Luke Edwards' spot, I suppose, in the rotation. We've actually liked Ruben out in the wing as well, and even a little bit half back. So I think what's got him going a little bit this year is that space that we get him to play in, because he's a very inside contested player. So we can get a bit more of the ball out on the open side or down back. It makes his game a bit better. So I don't think we're hanging on him to get in all the centre bounces, but he was good last week.
Harley's had a lot of attention from over east, deservedly so. But a lot of the talk has been that he's single-handedly turned the club around. Do you think that takes away from what some of the other boys have been able to do this year?
I'm not really reading too much in that. I think we just enjoy the fact he's playing with such freedom and spirit. I think internally we know we're doing a lot of things better, and he's part of that. So, yeah, the accolades will come and go, and it'll be overs and unders at certain stages. So we're just trying to stay balanced, and we can't control what you guys talk about, but we're at the start of a long journey, and we're really glad he's part of it.
Matt Flynn playing this weekend in the Waffle, Tyler Brockman as well, getting some numbers back. Must be pretty promising for that as well.
It is, yeah, and we've, in the past, we've just thrown them straight in the seniors, and perhaps, unfairly for them as much as the performance for our side. So the opportunity to play them through Waffle is why we do the Waffle Eagles, and still really young, that crew. But with Flynn coming in, we'll have to make a call on Oscar when he comes back around the bye. Brockman comes back. I think there'll be 13 guys coming back at Waffle level, which is different than 2 or 3 that we had last year. So yeah, the injuries are better this year, that's for sure.
What's the time frame for Matt in terms of playing Waffle and progressing back to the ones?
No, we'll just see how he goes. I mean, I think he's played 30-odd games in 8 years. So and we got him for a reason as well. So I think he's due to play full game. So we'll just see what his form's like, see how he's feeling, how comfortable he is, and then we'll look to get him back in or in.
Last weekend, the performances of Barris, McGovern and Darling, the veterans lifting, how important is that for the rest of the team and when those guys do perform? I mean, Darling probably played his best game in several years.
Yeah, it's probably the difference for us this year. As much as we're liking our younger players coming through, and it seems that the cultural shift we've had in the locker room is different. It's the young guys are taking over, but I still think the senior players we've got, we're really lucky that their leadership's as strong as it's ever been, and B, they're available. I just can't remember the last time they were all playing together, and we haven't got Oscar in the side at the moment, but they're all Australian premiership players, so there's some serious talent still there, and they've still got a bit to give. And now that they're healthy, obviously it makes everyone better.
I know it's not your area, and I heard you last night on 6PR, not really wanting to talk about it too much, but the contract situation around Elliott Yeo has been making the rounds. Given that it is round 11 and he hasn't signed on yet, does that at all concern you?
It's not my area. No, look, of course we want to keep Elliott. We do as much as we can to keep him. So it's the same with Harley. Like, these guys are great players, and personally we'd love to keep them. So you just can't play it out through the media. That's just you can't do them.
There was concerns at the start of the year when Oscar went down about how that forward line might stack up, but now you've found yourself in a position where you have Waterman, Darling, Jack Williams, Ryan Marrick have shown plenty. You've got Williams who can go forward. Did you think at the start of the year you'd find yourself in a position where you have 6 key forwards to choose from?
I suppose we thought if everyone got on the park, the Jake Waterman situation was it's just a credit to him on what he's done in his off season. He come back and broke all types of records with the time trials and the testing. So, that's not a fluke, but I think the opportunity he's taken now that he's him and Darling's worked together really well, it's clicked for us at stages. Him personally, but for us as a side, supply's been the biggest issue. So over the years, I think we average him 35, 40 inside 50. So if we get 50, then they can express themselves a bit more. So, and when Ozzy comes back, it'll look different again with how that goes. And obviously with Flynn being available in the next few weeks. So it's going to probably take a bit of time to get that right, but it'll probably change again.